Araba Felele, the life and times of Chief Aliu Fele Ogunjobi, the Baba Ewe of Ikare. Pa Aliu Fele Ogunjobi was born in Ikare, a town in Akoko area of Ondo State, to the family of Pa Yesufu Ogunjobi and Madam Adegunola, a princess of the Olusa chieftaincy in Okere in Ishakumi. Although the exact date of Aliu Fele's birth was not known, but anecdotal evidence of important events and contemporaries clearly show that he must have been born around the year 1909. Like every young man of his age, Aliu Fele grew up with his siblings and the extended family. As a young man, Aliu Fele was an extrovert. As a prosperous young man, he was flamboyant and gregarious. He was well renowned for his white roach bicycle with red tires. The story was that he got his nickname Fele from his stature when he had a relatively slight build but not outrightly skinny. In traditional Yoruba societies, there were several ways of acquiring chieftaincy titles. While some were hereditary, others were acquired by the virtue of birth and one's position, contributions, and responsibility in the society. Aliu Fele's chieftaincy was a combination of all these, reflecting the people's verdict and acceptance of his noble birth, achievements, mentoring leadership, charismatic popularity, as well as his Omoluabi virtues. To date, nobody has been so honored in Ikare with the title of Baba Ewe of Ikare, half a century after his death. Just like the baobab tree with the botanical name Adamsonia digitata, Aliu Fele was a man of many parts and a lot of useful things to all people that encountered him. In size and stature, he was as substantial as the baobab tree. He was referred to as Afelele Bioye, Olele Bioke, Akarabala Bioka, he who blows like the wind, bulky as the mountain, and as rounded as the cobra. Like the baobab tree with marvelous trunks, Aliu Fele was a man with octopus connections, playing a big part in the life of the community. Like the baobab tree that provides shelter and food for humans and animals, Aliu Fele was a benefactor, mentor, counselor, and a pillar of support to all and sundry. Aliu Fele was a successful businessman who, in line with the practice in his days, was a polygamous Muslim. At the peak, he had 4 wives and 2 others intermittently. His first wife was Kaliat Bilikis Fulani. She was born around 1920 into the family of Akpomosi, a popular herbalist from Ilagbo in Ishakumi. As a young girl, Fulani was a paragon of beauty that in April 1937, Aliu Fele paid a dowry of £5 in order to marry her. Today's value of £5 is about 3.4 million naira. That was indeed a dowry of the century. Aliu Fele's second wife was Kaliatu Omo Olorun Pele, born around 1917. She was from the family of Pata Daniyo, a famous and successful farmer at the Ishakumi quarters of Ikare Akoko. The third wife of Aliu Fele was Alaja Victoria Saudat, who was popularly known as Alaja Saudat. She was born around 1922 into the Jegede ruling house of Eleo in El quarters of Ishakumi, Edo, Ikare. She was a niece of late Theophilus Jegede, one of the early Western educated teachers in Ishakumi. Alaja Khadijat Adoni is the 4th and only living wife of Aliu Fele. They got married in 1954. Khadijat Adoni is the daughter of late Pa Oladuni and Madam Asake from Erusu, Akoko. She is the Yadini of Ikare women Muslims. Alaja Adoni is reputed to be the leading exponent of Iufen eulogy alive today. In Genesis 1 verse 28, God said, "Be fruitful and multiply." In fulfillment of God's unfailing promise, Aliu Fele that started procreation with Fulani in 1940 became fruitful and was greatly multiplied. He had 18 children from his 4 wives, comprising of 14 males and 4 females. Some of the renowned children include late Otumba Mohammed Jobi Fele OON, a successful business tycoon and founder of Jobi Nigeria Limited. Otumba Mohammed was the pioneer local manufacturer of sardine in Nigeria, the Fuller brand. Otumba Jobi Fele served as the chairman of Odua Group of Companies. Another renowned son of Aliu Fele is Chief Dr. B.C. Ogunjobi, OON, a seasoned international development economist who is a former vice president of the prestigious African Development Bank and past chairman Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, and is also the founder of B.C. Ogunjobi Foundation, who is our current chief host of today. Other offsprings include Dickness Stella Kombi, Ni Ogunjobi, a retired director of Central Bank of Nigeria. We also have Alhaji Sumbo Ogunjobi, aka Navy, a businessman and founder of Resona Hotel in Lagos, as well as Dikin Yemi Oladejo, Muibi Shola Ogunjobi, both of who train in the United States and United Kingdom respectively. Others also include Larry Lamidi based in the US, Tajuddin Folaon and Bolale based in the UK, and Yesufu Amuda alias Dikitu, the namesake of Aliu Fele's father, Yesufu Ogunjobi, and hotelier in Ikare. There are 95 grandchildren of Aliu Fele, one of which is Olumide Larry Ogunjobi, an American football player who plays for the Cleveland Browns in the National Football League in the United States of America. The offspring now number over 250 persons made up of children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and their spouses, constituting the Aliu Fele Ogunjobi tribe. Aliu Fele started life as an adventurer, dreamer, and a young man in a hurry, all rolled into one. This trait prepared him to quickly grab available opportunities by the horn, thereby leaving his hometown at a tender age for Ondo to learn sawmilling trade. After fully serving his apprenticeship and gained license to practice, he soon became well known in his new business and thus soon became a subject of envy. There was a story that on one occasion, after felling an Iroko tree, he sold the sawn timber to some local people who refused to pay him. His debtors concocted a story that he had eaten bush rats, an act that was regarded as a taboo among Ondo people. Consequently, they decided to force him out of the village. The incident led to a violent confrontation, but Fele had a magic ring which he always wore on his right hand middle finger. It was believed that if he hit anyone with the ring, the person would fall to the ground regardless of how big or strong the individual was. As the mischievous debtors and their collaborators charged at him, with the ring on his finger, he began to chant some incantations in Yoruba. As the first man approached him, Fele slammed him with the ring and the man fell to the ground. The second man also fell as Fele hit the adversary with the ring. Seeing the fate of two of their members, the rest of his attackers fled for their lives. But Fele, though victorious, eventually left the village. Aliu Fele went into cocoa business purely due to a fortuitous meeting with a cocoa merchant, fondly called M&K. In 1951, Aliu Fele entered into a partnership with Chief Jacob Adekanye Alabilogo from Ogbagi and Chief Emmanuel Alaide Oniye from Idoani to form the company registered as Iwalewa Trading Company. The trio contributed money to buy and grade cocoa and palm kernels that were processed through the Western Regional Marketing Board in Ikeja for export to the United Kingdom. The partnership thrived not only on friendship, but also on trust, honesty, and integrity. Aliu Fele was the top produce buyer in Ikare and perhaps among the top 5 in Ondo Province, now Ondo and Ekiti states. Some of his contemporaries in Ikare were Chief Adagunodo, Olaitom, Olufowobi, Bale Olungbemi, Chief Julius Akonde, Koiki, and those outside Ikare were Chief Fagboyegu in Owo, Chief Fayiminu in Ondo, Chief Anisu Lowo, and Chief Ajibade Egbedi in Ado Ekiti. Aliu Fele had one unique business quality that worked for him greatly. He loved his customers wholeheartedly. He never took them for granted. He also always encouraged his staff to treat customers with highest regard. In other words, Fele's business approach was in consonance with the time-tested business concept of the customer is always right. Aliu Fele was a Muslim by birth. He was not a fanatic as he had many Christian friends, contributed to Christian churches and schools as well as mosques. Aliu Fele was stubbornly committed and proud of his birthplace, Ikare. He was never ashamed or apologetic of being referred to as an Ikare man. He often asserted, "I am a citizen of Freeborn of Ikare and not just a resident." Aliu Fele's kindness and philanthropy were unparalleled as he always assisted the downtrodden and less privileged. His generosity and business acumen traversed the length and breadth of Akko land. One of the notable things he did was to give 1 guinea or 1 pound and 1 shilling to each Muslim from Ikare traveling on pilgrimage to Mecca every year. It became part of the tradition for the convoy of pilgrims to stop at his house to pray and collect their special gift from him. On 2nd March 1971, the final curtain was lowered to signal the eventual end of the life and times of a giant. Aliu Fele Ogunjobi passed on to the life beyond. At his burial, he was given military parade and salute of honor on his last journey. Fele Jobi was widely acknowledged as a good, sagacious and worthy man. He put all these attributes and achievements at the service of his nuclear family, extended family, Aliu Fele clan, friends and the entire Ikare community. He was a man of impeccable character, a great business tycoon, a humanist, a mentor and model of persons, a role model whose life was a beacon of light to many people. He served his family, contributed to his community, to humanity with honor, dignity and high integrity. With this unanimous verdict, Aliu Fele had left an enviable legacy which his offsprings must cherish and sustain. When a snail crawls on the rock, it leaves a trail behind in the form of slime, the glittery silver trail. In the same way, Fele had passed through this world and left traces of his passage on the sand of time and in the hearts of people.